be it resolved.
And welcome to Be It Resolved. We're a group of four pals that get together every week, and we have weighty debates about topics of current interest. And so we will inform you about what's what. If you listen carefully, you can form your own opinions, and we'll present both sides of an argument, okay? So my name is Andrew Wood, and I have my good friends here. Sarab Sandhu. Sarab, give us a wave, yeah. And Mario Karakidis. And there's Al Brown. Hi, Al. Well, we're here to debate a very important question today. And the idea is, be it resolved that ants, bees, and termites are the future of the world. I'm going to be arguing for this together with Sarab. And our opposition today is Mario and Al. And yeah, so we're going to launch into this, but I should do a caveat here is that people are asking me to remind you that this does not necessarily represent our own personal opinions. But here we go. So our constructive arguments are going to be at or about 2 minutes, and then we'll go into a little bit of a free-for-all, and then we'll have a rebuttal thing to follow, and we'll wrap up with after that. Okay, so here we go. Ants, bees, and termites have been around for hundreds of millions of years. They have societies. They cooperate. They build. They build colonies. They build cities. They have a civilization. It's not a human civilization. It's very different, of course, but it's a civilization. And all three of those social creatures have been very successful by working with their environments and inside their environments for hundreds of millions of years. But it is my contention that we, primates, human beings, Homo sapiens, have not learned that simple lesson. We're not evolved as much as the ants, the bees, and the termites. And therefore, despite all of our quote unquote intelligence, our civilization is doomed to failure. And that is why we propose that ants, bees, and termites are the future of the planet. Look, it's our human greed, our human short-sightedness, our inability to conceive of long consequences into the future. We grab things now, we grab things today. The ants, the bees, and the termites don't do any of that. As a result, we're always jockeying for position. And we have put ourselves with our nuclear weapons and our technology and our climate change and all the rest of it in a very bad position. Now, one of my colleagues here is trying to shut me up, so I will leave the stage now to our first negative speaker. So, Mario, I believe you would like to talk against this proposition.
No, it's Al Brown first.
Al Brown first.
Al Brown. Okay, Al Brown.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. I'm just reminding everybody of the time. We don't want you to go too far and take away the time that we need to express our opinion that we do not believe that ants, termites, and bees, whatever order you want them, are the future of the world. We think instead that it is grasshoppers, crickets, and worms. And the reason for that is because these creatures are not hive animals. They're not organized creatures like ants, termites, and bees. They are lone survivors, and they have good survival skills, and they've been around just as long as ants, termites, and bees. So, and they're just as likely to survive any situation that we might come across in the future. In fact, I think they are more survivors than anything. Now, as to their place in this whole argument about the survival of humankind, that's another story. we'll come to that at a later date, I think. I think Mario will elaborate on that. But I'd like to say that I really admire grasshoppers. They are really, they fly thousands of miles. They form huge swarms of locusts and fly across the land, and they survive, and they live short lives, just so do termites and ants, but they are survivors just as the others. And they have other advantages. Ants and termites live under the ground. Bees are up in the sky. I prefer crickets and grasshoppers because they live in the sky and on the land. And bees, well, they fly around, but they don't go very far. And then there's worms. They live under the ground too, which is good. We need a little bit of variety in this to suit our tastes, of course. Mm-hmm. But I'm in favor of these three rather than the ones that you propose. And I will now turn this over back to your second.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Brown, for those thoughts. And I just want to point out to my colleague, Sarab, that he has graciously conceded to us already the central point of our debate, which is that human beings are doomed. And the fact whether grasshoppers and worms will pick it up, or whether
whoa. Are we going to hear? Aren't we going to hear from Sarah? What are you arguing for him?
No, we're going to hear from Sarah.
Does he have a voice, or doesn't he? Or have
of course he does.
Okay.
But Sarab, we've won the core argument. So now this is post-win. So Sarab, now this is...
Okay, I want to start. I want to say something. Ants, bees, and termites have been there for the longest time, as Andrew said. Ants go marching one by one by one by one. Where there is one ant, many more are sure to be found. This is because ants, like bees and termites, are social insects. Instead of each one scavenging for themselves, these insects work together in a colony or a hive. Now, this is called eusociality. And when a species uses a division of labor and reproduction to maximize their survivability. Now, all we are saying is the human beings specifically and other animals, they are on land. They don't have this basic quality of eusociality. They look for themselves. And when greed and other things, the system collapses, like we've seen many civilizations collapse, the Roman civilization, the one in India, the Mughal civilization, they all collapsed because of they're going in different directions. They're not working together. So with ants and termites, and they've been for many times bees, and finally there are bees. Unlike ants and termites, bees have permanent wings. Also, almost all species of bees pollinate, flower, and return flowers have evolved to reward bees with more nectar, which most bees will turn into honey. By the way, this increases survivability because they have something to do, something they're living with ecology, with the society, with everything around them. And this honey in turn feeds the larvae until they complete the metamorphosis through the pupal stage. Now, with the human beings, this is going apart because of natural disasters and the mental problems we have about living as a society. We always think the other person is doing better. We want that. And when other countries think we want this, we want that, and then they totally collapse and everything goes back to zero. While all these bees and termites and even grasshoppers, they will survive because they are living in an environment where they are living together with the environment. They are ecologically with their environment. We are not trying to create a new environment. So having said that, all these, in the end, when nobody's left, we will have only the bees, termites, and insects, which will dominate the earth. Everything will be some animals on top, but human beings will be the first ones to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
human beings are doomed. Yeah, they're doomed. They're doomed.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to allow these people to try to argue the opposite, but so we'll give them a chance to do that.
Andrew, I love the way you pipe in and try to take a little bit over the conversation every now and then, because you know how weak your position is, that you're trying to just, kind of add that little taste in there. But let me explain to you, first of all, why your position is so weak. First of all, you guys have God against you. God is with us. That's right. God chose us, our side. God chose locusts to throw onto the Pharaoh. Okay, he did not choose bees to sting the Pharaoh. He chose locusts. Okay, so you tell me how locusts are God's chosen insects. So if God chose them, of course they're going to survive over your pathetic little creatures. Come on. And not only that, but if we really look at it from a social perspective, that you and Sarah somehow argued that they're social animals, they are an autocracy. Every single one of them is an autocracy. Okay? Bees, ants, termites, they serve a queen. Okay? And when they serve a queen, they're feeding one person at the top. And that's the main reason why there is so much problems in our society these days, is because we have autocracies and people who are on the top who are trying to take advantage of the workers at the bottom. So you're telling me you want to associate humanity with enslavement of robots marching, as Sarah said, in line with each other, while the queen bee sits there and smokes that beautiful cigar that you have there, while she's waving her antennas saying, come to me and feed me? Give me a break, man. That is the absolute exemplification of greed and why society is going down. Now, the good part is that worms are just as powerful, and also our locusts are just as powerful, because they are, as Al Brown said, individuals, and worms can burrow into the ground, and they are a great source of protein that we as humans can eat and enjoy, and also use for fishing. Don't forget that we have a certain way of using those creatures for our own survival. But I'm being told now that my time is up, and I will let your pathetic little argument try to recover.
Well, I'm glad we're being so polite with each other today, and this so understanding of the opposite point of view. We seem to have lost entirely the intended crux of the argument, which is that human society is inherently unstable, and human society is doomed to fail.
No, Andrew,
whereas there have been all these other social creatures, equally social.
The focus of this debate is ants, termites, and bees are the way of the future, or the future of the world. We don't agree with that. It's nothing to do with the death of humanity. In fact, we believe that grasshoppers, crickets, and earthworms will be the new food of humans in the future, because they are easy to grow. Locusts, grasshoppers are 70% protein, and there's trillions of them out there. We can grow them very, very fast. Ants, termites, and bees, I don't know what they're going to taste like.
I think the moderator of this debate must have entirely failed to convey the purpose of the debate, which is indeed not which is a better food source for us.
The meaning of the debate from whether these creatures are specifically the future of the world to the death of humanity. That's too big a leap. If you wanted that, you should have said it in the original debate motion.
Right.
As it stands, we're debating where three creatures are going to be the future of the world. We have chosen to say we think that crickets, grasshoppers, and worms will make for a better food, a better diet for humans than ants, termites, and bees. That is, that's our argument.
Let's hear what Sarah has to say.
Yeah,
I have a
let's hear
feeling. Yeah, go
What we
ahead.
were saying is that these may be all of them are good food sources. It is in the end what is left after the human being decline themselves and other animals. The whole thing on the surface goes down. These maybe grasshoppers will live. They'll be left behind because they've been there for centuries and they know how to survive every disaster and they know how to come back to life. Because what you're saying about the queen bee, that is a system which we even follow as human beings. We call the queen bee God, and then we are trying to serve God through that. This is the same concept. They have a singularity they are serving. In the meantime, the social animals, they're working together to create the society for the people. Their model is actually very, very, it stood the test of time. They
That's the
recently
point.
dug up.
That's our point. Ants, bees, and termites, their social situation, their way of doing things, they're equally social creatures. Theirs has stood the test of time. Ours will not. Ours is going to crash and burn.
A social experiment or a social environment, if we want to call it, is an environment of cooperation where different people get together to create something different, to change something. If you ever watch locusts and grasshoppers, they swarm. They create a society and they go after a common goal, whether it is crops or whatever it is that they're going to go, or sometimes even humans, like the pharaohs, for example, right? I mean, sometimes they go after them. So, but it is a common goal that they follow. But that is a socialized way of looking at it. It's not an autocracy. So if we're talking about political things, that is more towards socialism and more towards the welfare of all as opposed to the welfare of one. We have seen very often that the welfare of one has created many problems in society. And this is a problem right now that we're facing, where we see the 1% taking over, and the rest of the world is suffering because of that. It's time for some change to happen there. Now, if we're looking at it from a God perspective, that Sarah said that we're serving God, we're not serving God. Okay, that's not the purpose of humanity. The purpose of humanity in a biblical way and even in a spiritual way is for God to live through us and to experience through our energy, the common energy that we have with God, okay, that we can manifest a utopian world here if possible. So let's not confuse the ideas here. The crux of this thing is this, that because our creatures are much more stronger than yours, bees are going to be used to create honey. How are you going to eat a something that would create honey, okay, which is a source for food for you? You won't be able to. You will, first of all, they taste the bee. Have you ever eaten a bee? The first thing you do is spit it out when it goes into your mouth. You're not going to swallow that bee. But you know what? Grasshoppers, the military definitely eats grasshoppers when they're in survival training. So that alone shows you that humanity has already tested this, and they are going to survive, and we're going to survive because they are our food.
Okay, I'm going to use your statement here, Mario. That's going to be your rebuttal time. And so that, you know what, because you were first up for that anyway. And then I'm going to move to Sarab. Sarab, I'm going to give you a 1 minute just to rebut the opposition's arguments, and then I'll move to Al.
No, regarding food, if you take, they're using crickets now to freeze them and then make a flour of it. There's a lot of stuff happening in the market here. But they can do the same thing with the bees. Bees produce honey. You can freeze the bees and make it into a powder. They also have proteins. And bees are intelligent. Actually, you know how intelligent they are? I've seen them in action. They always fly in a figure of 8. They always fly in a figure of 8. And when you bisect that angle, that 8, it is leading to the source where they have to go and take honey. So they socially tell their other party that where the flowers are, which way direction to go. They are very intelligent indeed. So I'm just saying that with time, it's going to happen that maybe all these 6 animals will survive. It depends, but we are saying the bees and ants will survive longer than them. They are good for food, but we are talking about humanity going away, and then there's nobody to eat the grasshoppers, and then the only thing left is the bees and termites. That's what I'm.
Thank you. That's our point. That's our point. Human
That
beings are
that
doomed.
is so weak. It's unbelievable. Anyway,
Al,
go ahead, Al.
it's Mario. I wish I had a mute button here. Okay, Al, away you go.
Well, Andrew, again, I have to reiterate that this argument is what 3 animals are going to be surviving, are the way of the future of the world going forward. We do not accept the argument, the extension of the argument that you put forward, that humanity is doomed. In fact, we believe that humanity will start using grasshoppers, crickets, and worms as food, and we will survive. As to the merits that you say of ants and termites and bees, well, I have to tell you that ants commit atrocities on each other. When 2 ant colonies run into each other, one will try and destroy the other. They're not that sociable. They're not that nice to their neighbors, nor are termites for that matter. And bees, well, I've never heard of bee colonies fighting each other, but there are such things. And it does happen, I'm sure, where they will go out and attack each other over the resources. So they're not as good as you think they are. And besides, I don't think they taste very good. Ants and termites are full of formic acid. Ugh,
Okay, here we go. No.
Grasshopper, 70%
Thank you, Mr.
protein.
Brown. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mute yourself, please. Look, you know what? The opposition has tried to obfuscate this issue entirely because they have no really good arguments. The bottom line here, whether it's grasshoppers and crickets that come out on top in the end, or worms for that matter, all of that is fine, and all of that supports our central contention that human beings in the long run are not going to be in the picture. Whatever ants have done and warring against each other, that's part of what they do. And they've done so successfully for hundreds of millions of years. We have been warring against each other for a mere few thousand years. And with our devices, with our nuclear bombs and all the rest, we're going to succeed in blowing ourselves up and out of it. And in the long run, it's going to be the ants, the bees, the termites, the grasshoppers, the crickets, the earthworms, and the cockroaches, by the way. Nobody's talking about
Cockroaches, yum, yum.
Yeah. Those are the ones who are going to inherit the earth.
Yum, yum, cockroaches.
Okay. Human beings, humanity is doomed, just doomed. Okay.
Sarab, you're
Guys,
excited.
you're invited for dinner. We're going to serve ants, bees, grasshoppers, and crickets.
Yeah.
Yum, yum.
Bread.
Okay.
Man, can't wait, man. And we'll watch who survives and who doesn't.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm glad we've managed to pretty much wrap up the future of humanity. I'll leave it with our viewers to decide who's going to take over, whether it's going to be the ants and the bees or whether it's going to be the grasshoppers and the crickets. But in any case, human beings are going to be nowhere. Anyway, thanks a lot.
Where's my fork and spoon?
We've enjoyed this, and sure, tune in next time for another lively debate.
What's the next topic?
Be it resolved. What are we gonna resolve next time? I have no idea.
Well, gentlemen,
We're not gonna be around, right? According to you guys, there's no point debating anything else. We're done. We're gone. We're done.
Okay.
Whatever it is, forget about it.
Okay.
well, I have a suggestion. Why don't we debate whether or not bottled water should be banned? That is the stuff that you buy in stores.
Oh gosh,
Much more serious than this. Okay.
I'll debate that.
Much more serious? What
Anyway.
are
Serious topic, and that's a good one.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for this whole thing. Sarab, I do suggest you better pull the plug while we still have some degree of sanity remaining. here.
Okay. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for listening, and please subscribe so you do not miss another episode. Thank you.